Today, I'm going to be talking about your environment and not so much the physical sense of where you're placing yourself and what is around you and what you're experiencing day by day, but more to the point of who you're actually spending your time with. And I want to talk about something that actually inspires a lot of fear in people, and that is the gap between being in the environment that currently serves the current version of you and bridging the gap into the environment that is going to help you become the person you are aiming to become. So if you tuned into last week's stream, you will know that the topic of discussion that we was having was how to bridge the gap between your occupied reality and your stated reality. Now today, I don't want to just give you tips and tricks on how you can develop those habits, but what to do when you're actually in the process, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree that when you're in that process of developing a new skill, becoming a new person, trying to step into a new identity and try and change your life in some way, shape or form, it sometimes comes with the negative side of change from the people that surround you. So you may have this amazing idea, you may feel super fired up, motivated, inspired to try something new, but you will have people around you tell you why you can't do it. You may be surrounded by individuals that don't believe in the vision that you have right now. And sometimes when we're in that gap, when we're heading from the environment we're in right now into trying to be in the environment we want to get to, it can become lonely. And there can be a period of time in that chapter where we question, is this worth it? I didn't realize this would be part of the deal. Now, this is what we're going to dive deep into today. But again, just one more time, if you guys can see and hear me all clearly, just drop a 1 in the chat if you're ready to get this going. We'll pull out, my friend, the whiteboard, and we're going to get this rocking straight away, because something that I feel a lot of people actually experience when it comes to stepping into a new identity, trying to change our environment, trying to make the shift, they're curious as to why it doesn't always happen at the speed they want it to happen at. And they wonder why they're not actually able to see the changes happen physically right away. And they can sometimes hold themselves back and they question it so much on why hasn't this changed yet? Why am I still the same person? Why are my habits not changing? Why am I still being fed the same thing again and again? And when they reach that point, when they're on the verge of change and are on the verge of that new identity, that new environment, that new community, surrounded by people that are actually contributing to the attainment of the life they want to live, and they're getting further away from those that aren't contributing to it, they're sticking there trying to help the old identity, they're holding those people in place, not holding you back, they're holding you in place. And when you're in that gap, trying to bridge between the occupied reality and the one that you are stating you want, when that lonely chapter hits, that's where most people fall back. So we're going to get started now, guys. Just let me know in the chat, have you ever experienced this in your journey so far? Have you ever experienced a time where you've had an amazing idea, you wanted to step into something brand new, you wanted to try a new business, or you wanted to try work with new people that you felt like you just aligned with more? You took that idea to someone you know, someone that you feel like supports you, someone you can seek counsel in, someone you thought would contribute to this idea and make you feel as excited about it as you did when you first thought about it, and they almost talk you out of it. And you're so inspired to change. You've got this big vision in your mind when you're ready to go to the next level. And you're like, oh my God, here's my idea. This is what I'm going to do. And they're like, man, that's stupid. You can't do that. You think you could do that? You think you could pull that off? That's such a bad idea. And what that then does is that brings you back down to that lower state of vibration that this environment has been holding you in for so long. And you could give up on it. You forget. Because now the doubt that is being spoken out from someone else, the external doubt from someone else, becomes your internal doubt. And that is what prevents the shift. And that isn't so much just down to belief and everything else that comes with it that we've spoke about in the series so far. It comes down to being impacted by the wrong things. The environment is not representing what it is you want to be. Your environment is not representing what it is you want to become. So I'm going to do a little demonstration now, pull out, my friend, the whiteboard. But just before we get going, let me know in the chat, as I've already said, if you have experienced this at some point in your life, not even like the journey, because a lot of people don't like to use the word a journey because they don't feel like they've done anything of significance yet to deem the term. But at the end of the day, we're all going through something in life, right? We're all on our own journey in some way, shape or form. We're all experiencing very similar things. And although they can feel very niche or very referenced to ourselves and our own situations, but I can assure you the reason why these videos that I'm creating and these live streams that people are tuning in week on week, that I'm extremely grateful for, by the way, the reason why people are now starting to see change is we're understanding the deeper topics that we don't usually speak about, or maybe we're not even aware that we have the questions right now because we've never been exposed to information that things can be different, and maybe we've not actually thought about the idea that could the reason why I am not in the position I want to be in, is because I keep taking advice from the wrong people. It's because I keep hanging around with people that are keeping me stuck in place where I am right now, as opposed to contributing to the life I want to live. And by breaking this down and understanding it and going through not just what happens, but how to deal with it, what to expect. Because there could be someone on this call right now or watches the replay that's like, yeah, I want to change my environment. I want to shift my identity. I want to become better. But when it gets to the tough points, people don't usually get told about that. And these are the points that matter the most. Not so much the information on how to make it happen, but what to do when adversity strikes. What to happen when you head into the storm. What to do when you thought the plan was straightforward and simple, that if I want to be more productive, I just need to clean my desk. If I want to hang around with better people, I just got to speak to other people. Yeah, it seems so basic and common or common sense on paper, but when adversity strikes and we have genuine emotional connection to the environments we're in, it can be tough. It can feel like we're being pulled away from what has been creating us for so long. And this journey can continue throughout our entire lives. Like if we actually look at how our lives have gone so far, for most people who they hang around with now, chances are you've got friends that you would call lifelong friends. People that you've known for your entire existence. And when we're young, and we're put in school, the first people that we are in proximity with are essentially not our choice. We don't get to decide who we go to primary school with, but we make friends with the people there, and we're all following the similar things. We all will follow the same lifestyle. We'll all have similar programming. Our family will all have similar backgrounds because we're in a similar area in a town. Our mentality is programmed to a localized environment. So everything that everybody does is deemed as normal. Whether to some people that will be weird, to other people that may be extraordinary, but if you're raised in an environment that you see something every day, you become familiar to it, that is your idea of normal. And then as we grow up, we go through school, we head into college, get a job, higher education, whatever that may be. Now we're going to be around other people that come from different areas, different walks of life. So that means they've been programmed in a totally different way. So we're going to now meet people that think something that's extraordinary is completely normal. You could end up going to work for a billionaire, and when they hear your problems of what poverty is like, they can't actually relate because they've never experienced it. So now you're working with all these different people, and now you start to make friends with people that you feel like you align with most. But something that I've spoken about in the series before series 2 of identity is how we will sometimes pretend to be someone we're not to fit into an environment where you'll find people that feel kind of similar to you and you feel like you share beliefs, or you think they're cool and maybe there's someone you'd like to be like or someone you'd like to spend time with, and you'll start to see yourself picking up their traits and habits. You'll start to behave the way they do. And a clear way to see this, sorry, it's absolutely roasting in my house, by the way. If you're in the UK, you've definitely said that sentence today at some point. But let's be honest, right? At some point of our lives, we've found a group of people and we've said, let me try and fine-tune my identity to fit in more with this tribe. Because as humans, we're community beings. We want to feel a sense of belonging. We want to feel like we are surrounded by people who are like us. And if we can't find the perfect match, we will fine-tune ourselves to match what is the closest thing. And sometimes we will do things that are actually a detriment to our lives just because we would rather be surrounded by people that make us laugh and supplement how we feel for a small period of time than have to face life by ourselves in the lonely chapter. So while we're going through this process and we're trying to grow and we're trying to understand who am I and why am I the way I am, can we all admit at some point we've all behaved a certain way, or even you experience it in your life now, you've got several groups of friends and it's called code switching, where you'll be with one group of friends and you'll talk a specific way, and then you'll be in a professional environment and you'll start talking with corporate jargon, or you'll start talking in a totally different way, and then you'll go in front of your parents and you'll speak another way, and you're almost like a different person in each environment. With each different person that you're around, you switch your personality, you switch your identity. And that, as much as it can seem normal, what that then does is it makes us lose track of who we really are in the process, and then we also lose the touch of, well, who are my real tribe? Who are the people that I really align with? Because I have a great sense of humour with these people, but I feel like I learn and grow more with these people. But then I feel like when I'm with these types of people, I make bad decisions, but the bad decisions, they sometimes feel exciting, so it feels right to be there, but I know I'm not going to get to the level I want to if I spend all my time with the people that don't want the best for me, but sometimes I feel good. And is this something we can all relate to? Because whether this is the first time you've heard of it and it's made you think, do you know what, actually, that's true, because there's qualities about these people that if I could eradicate them and get towards this, then the quality of my life would increase. I would have better finances, better health. I would have a better mental state. I would be more creative. I would tap into the more of the things that I want, and I would become a better person. But what do you think prevents people from taking that leap? It's the fear of judgment, and it's the fear of having to be alone. Because I'm going to get the pen out, we're going to do some cool drawings like last week. But let's break it down like this. But just want to make sure I've got everyone here. Is this all making sense? Just drop something in the chat if I still got you so far. Because I know with these, we can go on tangents and we can just absolutely run with it. So I'm just going to give an example of what this can look like. And as I say, I don't want to just say stuff that makes sense, but you don't know how to apply it. You don't know how to move forward. You don't know how to change. And the thing is, sometimes this isn't even about groups of friends. This can be about the closest family relatives and the people that have been with you your entire life, and it can feel like betrayal. Sometimes elevating and becoming a better you can feel like the most selfish thing to do, because you're like, how can I leave these people behind when I've spent my whole life with them? How can I now feel like I've switched up on my day ones? How can I feel like I've now changed who I am when these people have been around me forever? But it's actually more selfish of other people expecting you to stay the same for their own benefit than it is for you to go out and change and become a better version of you to be able to give better to the people you love and care about most. What would you say is more selfish? Because I would say if I need a period of isolation, I need time to sit down, work on myself, learn a new skill set, practice something that's going to help me become a better version of me, so that when I show back up and I turn up as the better version of myself, I now have more to provide for you. I now have more substance. I now am a greater resource for you, because now I can speak better, now I think better, now I'm a solution-based thinker instead of sitting down in a little circle and we all just complain all the time saying we wish things were different but we don't know how to do it. But now I'm a person of character and I have more resources. I can now actually provide for you more. So I would say it's more selfish of other people expecting you to stay the same to meet their needs than it is for you to go out and become better to provide for the people you love and care about most. Amazing. Very glad to hear. So look, this is what the journey looks like. We're going to have, as we say, right, let's just say we've got a little group of friends. We'll just draw a couple people, because if not, this could get pretty busy pretty quick. But let's say this is our current environment, right? And by environment, I don't just mean, as I've already stated, the things around us, the location in the world we're in, whatever it is. I'm talking about the people we surround ourselves with the most, because that is what is essentially going to be programming your subconscious mind. That is the way you're going to live, because these people, you're going to end up having so much commonality between you, and you are going to resonate with these people so much that essentially you could not be in the room and you know what they're talking about. Or you don't need to be in the same place as these people and you know exactly what they're up to. You could, let's say for example, right now, we're talking about the occupied reality, and let's say you have these bad habits. Right now, you drink a lot, you go to the pub. Like, these things are not bad habits like for everyone, but let's just say they're like on the extreme scale, where you have a problem where you're constantly drinking alcohol to the point of your health is slipping and it's costing you financially to maintain this kind of lifestyle that isn't actually what you want. It is not contributing or in alignment with the version of yourself you want to become or the lifestyle you actually want to live. So let's just say right now where you are, the people you're surrounding yourself with are not contributing or in alignment with the life you're trying to move on to. So let's say right now you're feeling unhealthy, all of your friends, they don't go to the gym. Let's say you want to be more motivated, inspired, but your friends are very negative and pessimistic. Let's say you want to start a business, but these people have an employee mentality and they say, nah man, it's safer just to work a job for the rest of your life. If you want to be over here and you want to be with the business owners, and you want to be with the travellers, and you want to be with the freedom seekers, the truth seekers, the people that are making true change in the world, but the people you're hanging around with do the complete opposite of that, do you believe that by staying here it's going to help you in any way, shape or form get over here? Do you think that by hanging around with people that do not align with the version of yourself you want to become, and every time you try to grow, they try to pull you back, do you think this is the right place for you to position yourself? Does it make sense to stay here? And it's not always friends. It can sometimes be family. You can have a brother, a sister, mum, dad, cousin, auntie, uncle, whatever, that could be saying to you, don't be so silly, you can't do that. Do you know who you are? Your last name is this. We don't do things like that in this family. Be the change. Be the one that changes the legacy of the family name. Be the one that changes what the family name represents. And don't be afraid to go out into the wilderness and the loneliness to get to that point. It's part of the journey. This is where the character's built. In the middle. This is where everything happens. This is where the changes happen. And this is referring directly back to the previous live we just did. But speaking now, this is what happens to a lot of people, especially when it comes to business or especially when it comes to trying to pick up a new habit, a new hobby. If you want to join a run club and you want to start merging with a community of people that are obsessed with fitness and health and you want to get really fit and healthy and you're at the run club You're going to feel like you align far more with these people because you can sense a common goal. You can sense there's a lot more you can relate to with these people than these people. And here's what can end up happening. These people are scared of change. They're happy where they are and where they want to be. Let's say this is now you. Okay? For some reason you're significantly taller, having a much longer torso than everybody else. But that's just the drawing. Let's just run with it. But let's say this is you, right? In the middle. And you say, right now, these are my friends. And this is my environment and their beliefs, their habits, their language, the way they speak. I want to be someone that's rich, but everyone I'm around at the moment, family, friends, cousin, whatever, keeps talking about how broke they are. They keep telling me about how there's more month than money every single month. They keep talking about how bad the climate is. They keep talking about how they wish they could go on holiday, but they can't afford it. What do you think that's doing to your subconscious mind? You're hearing that language again and again and again, and at some point it's going to program you to the point that you believe you can't do something because someone else said they can't do it. This person said, oh, I couldn't start a business, I'm not good enough. And you think, yeah, if he's not good enough, then I'm not good enough because I'm always with him. So surely the way he views himself, it must be how I should view myself. Although it seems illogical, this is what we do on a day-to-day basis. Because our programming is built upon what we hear and the way that we act, think or feel based off the information that floods into our conscious mind, which then feeds the subconscious, which is what is causing us to take action on a daily basis as the decision maker, where you don't have to think about what you do. As I've said several times, when most people got on this call and when they woke up this morning, they didn't think, do you know what? I think I'm going to get dressed today. I think I'm going to brush my teeth today. It's subconscious, it's what you do. And this can happen when you're hanging around with people that align with your current occupied reality and they don't align with the stated reality who you want to be. So this is what's happening. You've said, right, do you know what? Enough's enough. I'm going to start studying on my own. I'm going to start learning personal development. I'm going to start learning about business. I'm going to start figuring out a plan on how I can step into the life I want to live. And you start studying by yourself. All of a sudden, you start to feel yourself growing. You start to feel excited about life because let me tell you something, you never feel tired when you're winning. You never feel tired when you're winning. You have unlimited energy. That's why I can come on these calls. I can scream, shout. This is pure passion. This isn't like me thinking, oh, people will like it more if I'm loud. This is passion. I don't control this volume. So I apologize if you're like, why is this guy yelling all the time? That is purely my passion on how much I believe in these concepts and I believe in these topics. Because this is the stuff I had to learn through experience, not through theory. Because you're sat at home trying to grow when you're not with everybody else. Everyone else could be sat at home playing Xbox, PlayStation, drinking, talking rubbish in group chats, gambling, doing whatever. And you're like, oh man, I'm tired of this. There's got to be more to life. There's got to be more going on. And you're going to feel different. You're going to feel like an alien because you're like, why do I want more than everyone else? Why have I come from this small town and all of a sudden I feel like I want to go out and change the world, become a better person. I want to go out and leave the spirit of excellence. I want to go and become someone. Why does no one else want to do this? Why is it just me? But because of your proximity and because of the location you're in, you haven't been exposed to greatness yet. You haven't been exposed to a different way of living yet. You haven't been exposed to a different way of thinking yet. So you're going to sit at home and you're going to start to study. You're going to start to learn by yourself. You're going to start to develop a character that is no longer relatable to these people. And this is what most people will then experience. They're going to be so excited. What's the first thing you do when you're excited? When you feel like you've got some amazing news, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to go and tell those closest to you, don't you? You want to say, you won't believe what I've just done. You won't believe who I've just spoken to. You won't believe the opportunity that just landed on my feet. You won't believe what's just appeared. And you're going to be so excited. You're going to be like, I've got to go tell my friends about this. I'm going to tell my family about this. They're not going to believe what I'm doing. They're not going to believe what I've learned. You've got this passion, this fire inside of you that you're like, I finally feel aligned with something. I finally feel like there's a reason, a purpose to my life. And you run to your closest environment. And you tell these people who are no longer on the same vibrational frequency as you, they are no longer in alignment with your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, or your behavioural patterns. And you go and seek counsel from the very type of person you've been working so hard to get away from. Not them physically, but the mentality. Imagine this wasn't a person. This represented habits, traits, beliefs, everything. This is what you're escaping from. And you're seeing this projected, your own mind being projected into other conscious beings. That is essentially what is happening when you find the people you're surrounded with. It's just simply a projection of what you are believing is what you're around. So you go and tell these people, You've been heading in this direction. You're heading towards the life you want to live. You go tell these small-minded people who are programmed the way they are, who haven't been working on themselves, and you know already what they're going to say because you know what you would have said to yourself before you made the change. What happens? Hey man, I'm super excited. I've been talking to this guy about this business idea. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start learning how to make money online. I'm going to start making content. I'm going to start writing blogs and I'm going to start doing all this stuff. I want to travel. I'm fired up. And you tell them and say, man, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? Have you seen where we're from? People like us, we don't do them things. People like us don't get to live them life like them rich people. People in our lives don't get to have abundance in their life like those rich people and like those happy people. We don't get that. We're destined for misery and suffering. That's what these people believe. And you're trying to seek counsel to become this person from this one who couldn't be further from it. And that's going to do two things. Either you say, do you know what? I've had enough. I am not falling back into this because I feel the gap is big enough that I am determined to get away from the way you think because I'm so locked in with the idea of who I'm becoming. Or you lack the foundational pillars that we spoke about in series 1 of the Listen to Me When series. You lack the self-belief. You lack the self-confidence. You lack the self-worth, which means you require the validation from someone, from some form. And the only proximity you have, because you've not been reaching outside of your social circle to be able to connect with other people, is the only people that have surrounded you for however long and have not changed at all and not grown. You're seeking counsel in them, and because you lack all of the foundational pillars, you don't believe in yourself enough. You needed them. The nail in the coffin was them to say, I believe in you. You can do this. But the problem is a lot of people are going to hate in you what they wish they had in themselves. They're going to hate the fact that you're so motivated, inspired, energized. You are so ready to move to the next level. And these people are going to resent you for that because they're going to say, I wish I had what you had. You're lucky. But all you did was realize that all of the decisions that you make contributing to the attainment of your goals are accessible to anyone at any given moment. But you made the decision to finally accept that you are the one that's in control. You finally reached the point of consciousness to decide that whatever it is I do, I pave the stones for my life. I build the patio, I build the stepping points onto reaching my milestones. My situation is not in control of me. I'm in control. You took control. But you've just allowed these people to hold the remote. You took control, but you let them say, but what we say is the final say. So now what have you done? You've started moving this way. Oh yeah, you're right. That was a dumb idea. That was a silly idea. You're right. But why did I think I could do that? Who was I to think that someone like me from a place like this could go out and achieve greatness? Who was I? Do you want to go for a pint? Do you want to go jump on Xbox? Do you want to go chill? Do you want to go gamble? Do you want to go do something that is the complete opposite of who I want to be so I can feel like I fit in again? Yeah, of course, mate. We'll welcome you back. We won. We'll welcome you back. Come back here. Come chill out of us. Keep your mouth shut. Or you could be someone else that says, do you know what? I'm willing to step away from this. I am not about to revert into the version of me that I've been dreaming of escaping for so long. I am not about to accept that that is going to be my destiny. I am not willing to tell myself and convince myself and sell myself on the idea that this is the way my life has to be for the rest of my life. I am not willing to tell myself that just because I was raised in poverty, that means how my future generations have to be raised. Someone at some point in your bloodline made a decision that either built a legacy for your family to where you are now, or it put you in the situation of poverty because someone once decided, oh man, it ain't even worth it. So someone's previous decision has built the programming of all of the generations that exist now that have created the reality you were born into. So when you actually start to really understand the weight of your decisions and the weight of your environment and the weight of who you expose yourself to, surround yourself with, and the information you're taking in and the way you're actually applying yourself every single day, when you realise this is bigger than you, where's the selfishness in that? Where is wanting to be bigger or better to serve other people? Where's the selfishness in that? Because this isn't just about you. Because when you now keep working, you say, do you know what? I'm willing to cut these people off. I know they are not in alignment with who I want to be. I'm tired of this. I am not accepting that. I'm going to keep pushing on, keep learning, and at some point I'm going to gravitate towards my new people. I'm going to gravitate towards my tribe. I'm going to gravitate towards the people I'm supposed to be around. You keep working, you keep working, you keep working, and all you're doing is this. You're getting closer, you're building connections, you're networking, and then all of a sudden, you meet someone. You go to a networking event. You decide to go travelling on your own. You decide to go out there solo, go out into the world. You decide to make content and build a personal brand. And you decide to share your insights with the world. Someone's going to listen to what you have to say and they're going to say, do you know what? I resonate heavily with what you say. Hey man, I love your content. I'm really inspired by what you're doing. I really love how you're so focused and driven to achieve this. This is something I've been trying to do too. How have you been doing it? And all of a sudden you start building a relationship with this person. And all of a sudden you're going back and forth on DMs and you're sending voice notes. And the next thing it's, hey man, like, do you want to jump on a call? Do you want to FaceTime? Or where are you in the world? It's funny, what? You're in Asia? I'm in Asia too. Why don't we meet up? We should travel together. We should meet up and talk ideas on what we're trying to build. And that person could end up being your future business partner. That person could end up being your soulmate. But the only reason you managed to step into your stated identity is because you decided, I choose my environment. And your environment isn't always external, it's internal. We hear the saying all the time, your body is your temple. But the question is your mind your sanctuary? That is the question. Your body may be your temple, but is your mind your sanctuary? Is it somewhere you can go where you can build a mental environment that you don't need to escape from? Where the external doesn't always dictate the way that you behave. Where your environment externally doesn't always dictate the way you feel. Where you can go through a frustrating situation, or you can go through things that used to bother you or would take your energy. And because you've built such a level of mental resilience, you're like, do you know what? That ain't even that bad. I'm not going to let that take my energy. I'm not going to let that drain me. I'm in charge. I'm in control of how I think and feel based on the way I view things because I've elevated my emotional intelligence. I don't give my energy away to things that do not serve me. It doesn't contribute to the happiness or the attainment of a goal or the reality that I want to live in or the people I want to be around. So I'm not going to give my time and energy to it. And by doing that, you now get to meet your new tribe. You get to meet the people that are going to help you get closer to who it is you want to become. You end up meeting someone that is super successful in an area that you have shown interest in. You said, hey, do you know what? I would love to understand the financial markets, or I would love to understand how to work with brands on social media. Let me just keep posting. And after a while, you're going to start coming across more pages. What is that called? An algorithm. When you start to show more attention and you start to pay and focus all your attention on a specific thing on social media, what do you see more of? If you start to watch videos of people doing backflips on dirt bikes, I assure you, after 10 minutes of that, you are going to see more and more and more videos of people doing crazy stuff on bikes. You like watching memes and people like having a laugh and making a joke? I guarantee you, after 10 minutes of scrolling, what does your algorithm now feed you? You like watching people talk about personal development and podcasts and people growing in business? What do you start seeing? Because I assure you, you start watching School of Hard Knocks content or you start watching my content and I'm talking about growth, I'm talking about prosperity, I'm talking about your environment. You watch enough of that, what is YouTube going to recommend you next? Probably one of my videos. What then is it going to recommend you? Someone else that's in the same space. You're building an online algorithm. Your life works the same. The more of the education you consume and the more of the version of you become and the more that you follow the process of getting to your stated reality, these people are going to show up because your life's going to show you more of them. Because where attention goes, energy flows. Where you are paying the most attention and where you are spending most of your time thinking about, feeling about, visualizing, using your higher faculties to help you imagine what that life is like, you have become so focused on spotting this life, you're going to start noticing people in it. And what's an example of this? Anyone in Britain or anyone from the UK, you'd have played yellow car at some point in your life, right? You're stuck in traffic, you're driving along the M25, you're on a motorway, and everyone's like, right, we're bored, what should we do? Let's play yellow car. First person to see a yellow car has to give the other person a little dig. We've all played that at some point. But what then happens? You're now tuned to start seeing every yellow car on the road. Law of attraction, manifestation, using your RAS, which is your reticular aiming system, all of these things work the same because of where your attention is going. Your energy is flowing. You start saying, man, I am dreaming of owning a Lamborghini Urus. I'm dreaming of owning a BMW M4. You're going to notice every single one on the road. So when your focus is more on who am I becoming? What is contributing to the attainment of my life I want to live? What is contributing to the character I want to become? And what is contributing to me becoming the person in my life that can shift the legacy, that can honour the ones that come before me, but leave a legacy for the ones that come behind me? What is doing that? Life's going to start showing you the people, the resources, and the information you need to get there. Because that's what you're now focused on. When you stop paying attention to all this negative stuff. Yes, you're going to go through the lonely chapter. You're going to be in this period of isolation. It's going to happen, but what is happening here? What is happening? You are in control of the environment because there's nothing else that can take that from you. There is nothing else influencing what happens in isolation. When you get home from a long day at work and there's no one else around and you can lock yourself in the bedroom, if no one comes and interferes with you, you are in control of what you get up to. You're in control. So you're in control of what you watch, what you listen to, what you then talk about, who you're speaking to. You get to choose it all. That's the same on life, but on a more macro scale. You get to decide, who am I going to become? What am I going to consume in this period of isolation? Because yes, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. Sometimes this will happen 2, 3, 4, 5 times in life. You may get to a point where you're like, do you know what? I want to hang around with the multimillionaires. I want to hang around with the people that are at the highest level of their craft. And then you reach the same level as them. And then guess what? It happens again. Because you've outgrown your environment again. These are cycles that happen over and over. It's not just about, oh, let me get away from my mates who vibrate low and they don't care about their future, and all of a sudden I'm going to find the new group of people I'm going to spend my entire life with. It's not guaranteed that that's exactly how it will pan out. Because you can outgrow the next circle and the next circle, and then all of a sudden you become the top person in that craft. And then what's going to happen? There's going to be people behind you who you are leaving a legacy for that are trying to get to here, and you can help them because of how you experience that period of isolation. And what's an example of this in my own terms? This is what this call is about. I'm teaching what I have learned in periods and times of isolation, when I had to separate myself from the pack, from the tribe, and I had to go find my new tribe who I aligned with. I just used the art of metacognition to think about my own thinking, not to sit here and think, why is this happening to me? I looked at it as, why is this happening for me? That was my viewpoint. Why are these people turning on me? Why are these people discrediting me? Why are people laughing at my content? Why are people saying I can't do it? Why are people saying it's impossible? There's people telling me what I'm doing right now is impossible. But let me tell you something about me. I'm possible. Look at the subscribers on this channel. If you was on the views last week, what was we at? 506. What was we on the week before that? 198. We've gone from 198 to 506 to now 812. I am being told the growth of my channel is impossible. People that know me are saying, hey bro, this is what people are saying about you. They're saying it's not possible what you're doing. The physical proof and evidence is there. They don't want to believe it because they're back here. They don't believe they can do it. So they are hating in what we are creating here as a community, as an environment. They are hating what the isolation has done to help us get to this point, because they wish they had it in themselves. And I guarantee you're all experiencing this in some way, shape or form in your life. Because now, when you can go and take all of this knowledge that you've built, there's going to be people that are following behind you, that want to grow, they want to learn, they want to be better, but they don't know who to follow because their current environment doesn't show a way out. So by you saying, do you know what? I'm going to become the best version of myself I can be. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to study relentlessly on a topic I want to learn about. I'm going to be absolutely committed, all in, no questions asked, no contingencies, no plan B. I'm doing what is necessary to get to that point, not just because of what it can give to me, but like I said at the start of the call. So when I see the people that used to be there with me, or my family, or whoever else, I get to show back up as a better version of me so I can serve as a version that they deserve. That is what you want to retain. So this seems selfish, this seems lonely, this seems sad, but what's it about? It's about perspective. The same as everything in life. It's about our perspective, our viewpoint, how we are actually visualizing, or how we are seeing the situation for what it is. If you look at this and say, man, this is lonely, I'm so sad, I wish I had loads of people around me. Oh, I bet the other boys are having so much fun right now. I bet they're having fun doing nothing and achieving nothing and becoming nothing. Oh, it must be so fun to be them. I'm almost jealous because now I'm sat here feeling miserable on my own and they're probably all laughing at me. But guess what? When you win, it will be irrefutable that you have gone out and done everything you could. No matter what people said about you before, there is irrefutable proof that you have become everything you said you would. So instead of succumbing to the ideas of what the environment is currently portraying and what they're currently putting out to the world, use that as fuel. Use that as motivation. Use the lack of belief in other people to say, I'm going to show you why I'm going to do it. I'm going to let you see what happens when you apply yourself, because it's not always negative and toxic, because there could be people that are sat here that aren't supporting you but that think, man, do you know what? I kind of hope it works for him, because if it works for him, he can teach me. Have you ever had that? Anyone that runs a business, anyone that's tried a new venture, anyone that's gone into a new community, have you ever had someone say, when I see it work for you, I'll give it a go. When you make money, I'll get started. You ever heard someone tell you that before? When they want physical proof and evidence that it works, but they want you to be the scapegoat, they want you to be the test dummy to boost their own belief that it can work. Have you ever experienced that? Because I can tell you now, I have experienced that myself. I've experienced it many times. And I can assure you there's probably people that are watching the growth of my channel that right now are thinking, man, that's growing pretty quick. He's staying pretty consistent. I'm not fully convinced that it's going to work yet, but there's a metric in my mind that if he gets there, it may convince me that I can do it too. Maybe I'll take action. And this is why sometimes we have to just allow people to be the way they are, and we can't force change. All we can do is invite change by becoming better, by being better. Because what happens in this process of becoming the new you and changing your environment, what you're consuming daily, information-wise, reading, books, like anything, wherever it's coming from, is shaping who you are. So by doing more of what this version of you does, you're going to find more people that are projections of what that life can be. So we're talking about environment on this kind of scale. It's the same with what surrounds you. Because if you say you want to be super productive and you want to edit videos and you want to shoot content, but you look at your productivity space and it's a mess. Your room's a state. You don't make your bed. You've got your monitor not even plugged in. Your laptop's always dead. Your mics are always out the case. Your camera's never got any battery. And you're saying that you want to go out and achieve that goal? But your current situation, your current habits and behaviours and the environment you're creating externally does not quite show the same one or reflect the one you want to have. So you can't just blame your situation on why you're not where you want to be. Because you're not helping it. You're feeding the occupied one by behaving in alignment with what the occupied reality created. Because the occupied reality was created from those habits. So by continuing to do those same habits and the same thing that got you there in the first place is literally insanity. Because you're trying to change a situation from the same level of consciousness that was used to create it. How can we say this in a term that's more logical? If you are frustrated and you are angry and you're like, man, I don't want to be angry anymore. Is your solution to get more angry? Is your solution, this person is annoying me so much, I want to stop being annoyed, let me be around the person a bit more. Maybe then I'll feel less annoyed. It doesn't make sense. It logically does not make sense. And it's the same thing of what we're surrounded by in front of us, our physical environment when we're in isolation, when we are by ourselves. It's the same. So if what you have control of and the variables that you are in charge of are not contributing or in alignment with who you want to be, can you question why you are where you are? You actually don't have the right. You don't have the right to say, oh, it's easy for everyone else. Everyone else is so lucky. Things like this don't happen to me. That's a belief you convinced yourself on because the environment you've created is nothing but a representation of those words. It's easy to believe it when it's all you see. It's easy because people say seeing is believing will change what you see. And if you can't physically change what you see, mentally change what you see through the art of visualization, from tapping into your higher faculties of imagination. We was all blessed with the ability to think. We are in control of what we think about. But the issue is a lot of people haven't trained themselves on how to think. Because you can ask someone, what are you thinking about? And they'll say, nothing. I don't even know. They're not aware. They're not aware what they're thinking about. And if that's the case, and you don't always know, you don't always have to be like, I know exactly what I'm thinking about right now. I'm always in control. No, that's not the case because that's the job of the subconscious mind, which takes up 98% of our thoughts daily. We're having 60, 70 plus thousand thoughts a day. Our subconscious is in control. So by shifting our physical environment and shifting our social environment, and we are spending time around people that are contributing to the life we want to live, and even if we don't have access to them right now, let me become who I need to be so I can gain the access. If you want to be around someone, a specific type of person, the easiest way if you don't have access to them is to become them. Be them, because you spend 100% of your time with you. And for most people, they try to believe that they don't because they'll distract themselves to wit's end. They will find so many ways to be so distracted away from who they are because they're so dissatisfied. But guess what? You are in control. You choose what you think about. You choose who you associate yourself with. If you're in a group chat right now and all we're doing is talking shit about the World Cup, but you're on this call because you're excited and motivated and inspired to make a change, leave the chat. It's not, just mute the chat. It doesn't need to be anything like crazy. You don't need to make a massive cut-off and say, do you know what? You guys, I've just listened to this Harley guys call and I'm now joining a cult. I'm changing the way I think. I'm leaving you all behind. It doesn't need to be like that. And if you really want to understand these principles in a micro way, in a bite-sized way, I've created a video called You Are Being Influenced, but you don't know what by. Your friends are influencing you. Your subconscious mind is being influenced by external things. You are in control. You are in charge. So just to recap, because I'm getting fired up and I am so hot in this house right now. I hope you can't see me sweating. I must look like Lee Evans right now on stage. But genuinely, right, the thing we need to focus on with this is accepting immediately that if I want to be better, I have to take complete accountability for my actions. I need to be willing to go through the lonely chapter. I need to be willing to experience the journey. I need to be willing to endure the setbacks, the storms, the chaos. I need to be willing to accept as part of it. Because for a lot of people, they'll go through something and they'll say, man, why is this happening to me? And yes, it's happening for you, but only if you look for the silver lining. Because when you can understand why you've been through something before, it does two things, three things almost. When you understand why you've been through something before, the next time you face it, it's going to be easy. So that's one. The next time you experience it, you can teach that to someone else. You can let someone else know what happens when you go through this, because here's what I did. So now you know what to do yourself. You also now know how to help someone else go through it. And at the same time, you now can have a much more positive outlook on your situations, because what happens when we have constantly negative charged relationships with things we've been through? We hold internal resentment towards ourselves, which is a totally different topic in itself, and I won't get on it now because we'll never end up moving forward. This will be a 10-hour stream. But when we hold that resentment towards ourselves and we continue to affirm, oh, this keeps happening to me, why has this happened to me? It keeps you stuck. It's keeping you stuck because you're holding yourself in place. This baggage, you are trying to elevate, and it's like a hot air balloon. You're trying to go up in the air, but all the baggage you're holding onto is keeping you stuck on the ground. So when you cannot forgive yourself for things you did not know before you knew, how can you expect to elevate? If you're constantly holding on to everything you went through by holding internal resentment or guilt, how can you expect things to change? So let's wrap it up and let's recap here. If there's any questions, I haven't even looked at a chat. I'm just cooking, I'm sweating here, but I'm going mad, but I'm just checking the chat real quick. But listen, is there any specific questions anyone has? Please write them now, because then I could probably stay more on topic. We will wrap it up in just a moment, but the purpose of this is understanding that by you making a decision to become better is not a selfish act. Although it fits in with the word and the term and the language, self, I'm focusing so much on self, I'm doing stuff that just benefits me. It's all behind the reason of why you're doing it. What is your intention behind focusing on yourself? Is it so that you can just forget everything, forget everyone, and you can live a life by yourself? Or is it so you can become a better version to give back to your family? Because there's been periods, and my family will tell anybody this, there's been periods where I've travelled the world and I've not been able to speak to them, or I've not just been able to turn up to events, or I've forgotten birthdays, or I've done all this stuff, and it seems like super selfish stuff. But my mum always tells me, I would rather you FaceTime me on the other side of the world with a smile on your face and a sun on your skin than be sat next to me wishing things were different. People that really, truly love and care about you, and people that really want to see you succeed, and they truly think you are destined for greatness, they will not hold you back. So if you do not have those people in your life, that means you need to reflect even more on your environment. Because I'm extremely grateful to have the upbringing I have. It's forged me into the man I am right now, which if I didn't go through everything I went through, which at some point in my life I could have resented friends, I could have resented family, I could have resented my parents for making me go through certain things that people shouldn't have to go through. But if something was different and it wasn't the way it was exactly orchestrated the way it was, I would not be here talking the way I am right now, because I'll be speaking from theory and not experience. This chapter, I get it, it's lonely. But guess what? we're making sacrifices every single day. We have to give up something to gain something. You have to sacrifice your health by eating the snacks, then by actually contributing or sacrificing the snacks to have a great body. You're constantly saying yes to something and no to something else. So every time you fall back into old vices, old habits, what doesn't serve the stated reality, you are sacrificing a life that you truly want to live. You are sacrificing fulfillment to have instant gratification. So as I say, I don't want this to go on forever. I feel like the message has probably been reached right now, and I've probably lost about 5 pounds on this call. I'm absolutely roasting. But if anyone's got any questions, please fire them in the chat now. And if not, we'll wrap this up. It feels like it's been hopefully another successful stream, a successful live. And choose your sacrifice, exactly. Something always has to go. And the beautiful thing is, we're in charge of what that can be when we make decisions that contribute to our freedom. When the decisions we are making mainly contribute to who it is we want to become. Because now we're no longer sacrificing freedom. Every day you go work a job you don't like, you're sacrificing your happiness. You're sacrificing time with your family. You're sacrificing stepping into the life you want to live. You're probably sacrificing your dreams by fulfilling somebody else's, because there's nothing against 9-to-5s. I'm not down on jobs. I'm just up on opportunity. But every time you say, I'm going to spend more time doing overtime and focusing on work instead of working on myself and heading towards something that I would much rather do and heading towards a life I'd much rather live, you are sacrificing your future, your family's future, and your future family's future beyond that, because you are willing to focus on someone else's dream. That's what you're sacrificing. Every single time you say no to yourself, you're saying yes to someone else. You're helping someone else get closer to the life they want to live. By saying yes to everyone all the time, you're saying no to you. So start saying yes to you. Start saying yes to the life and the decisions that are going to contribute to the life you want to live. Start saying yes to the situations, or start saying yes to the environments that contribute to the state of reality you want to live. Because I promise you now, you apply these concepts from a crazy guy that's absolutely roasting right now. You apply these concepts, I can assure you, you will start to live a life of more fulfillment, or at least you'll have more clarity on what it is you need to do to attain the life you want to live. So my name's Harley Hamblin. I love and appreciate you all. I have several videos already uploaded, ready to come out over the next couple of weeks. The next video is actually about why you keep turning back every single time you're on the verge of success. Why you keep reverting to your occupied reality when you're on the verge of living the life that you want to live. When you're just about to succeed, why you revert, which relates very much to today's session. That video comes out tomorrow, first thing in the morning, 9 a.m. So you'll get a notification if you're subscribed. If you're not, if you've listened to all of this and you ain't subbed, go just show some love. It does far more for the channel than you realise by just simply pressing a free button. It really does help. So listen, love and appreciate you all. Go check out the series. Any questions, you can reach me on Instagram at Harley Hamblin. You can comment on videos here and I will reply to every single one. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope you have a blessed week and I'll see you all soon.